Good morning. So I was invited to come and do an audiobook in the studio in Mossel Bay. But because we are traveling, I'm in Freiburg at the moment, there's no chance to do that. So then I decided I'm going to do podcasts. But then I found out that you need a microphone and I don't know what else. And I'm not very technical. So I have decided to do it my way, the very plain way. I'm flat on the grass. This is my favorite space to be in, is on the grass. And I'm just going to read. I'm going to read to you my book, You Are Super Blessed, which took me 7 years to write. Yes, and I have a journal which I attributed to Louise Hay, who was very much my mentor with my 7 years of learning the self-love that she teaches or inspires. And I wish to be that ripple effect to take it further and inspire others to get onto their journey of self-love. This journal is not a year journal. There's no year date in it. There's only the day date, and then each page has an affirmation, daily affirmation for you to conquer that self-love. Yes. And so I am going to start just reading. This will be the intro this morning, and I'm going to talk into it. So let me start by, the name is You Are Super Blessed, and I am Jonita Gagiano. And then I would like to read to you what my editor, very good editor, my friend Lena Hofmeyer, said about my book. She said, Jonita Gagiano is an extraordinary woman one can only describe as inspiring. In this book, she shares her soul-searching experience and narrates with raw honesty how she found answers to long-lived questions. Jonita has owned her own business at a young age. She is married for many years, has raised 2 amazing children, and is now aspired to become the best grandma for her 3 gorgeous grandchildren. In the following pages, she provides heartfelt insights to her own success with a wish to help and encourage others. And then there's quite a pretty picture of me, of Mariana Stein. I also want to thank Lena for those most kind words and being the editor of my book. What a beautiful journey this was with Lena, getting to know Lena and Lena getting to know me much better. And then Mariana Stein, who took the pic. This pic was taken at the Villeburn about 2 years ago, and she took quite a few photos of me, and I didn't know her, and what an amazing woman it is. And I had to get in touch with her again, and that too was a blessing to have her on my contacts again. And then it starts by You Are Super Blessed, A Journey to Self-Love, Jonita Gagiano, published by me. I do not want my books in bookstores. Only if it is friends, I will have it in there. And yeah, the reason being, this is a very, hello, this is a very personal book, and I prefer to do talks, so I'm available for any talks, self-help, any talks, mental and physical well-being. Yes, any festivals or talks or having a book signings, and that is what I'm wishing to sell the books through. And then I published in March. My launch was in March. Interestingly, the launch was in Makapan, where this journey of mine actually started. I had a business in Mokopane, and it's changed tremendously. And I was happy to do my launch of my book there after so many years of being away. I'm also the author of the book Bury the Past, Unlock the Future. That was 10 years ago, and it's not something that I would like to share again. That was a getting rid of baggage book. And not very well written, I must admit. 10 years went by, and yeah, I'm much more qualified to write, I would say. Not that I think of myself as an author, just someone who wanted to share her experience. Yeah. So the cover photograph, beautiful photograph, was taken by my beautiful daughter-in-law, Katja Schuurman. She's also my unofficial PA. She doesn't know that she's my PA, but she is. She does everything for me, and bless her soul, she's absolutely very good at what she does. She has a website, Pure Creations. I'm going to post that website with the video. In the description, you'll find her website. And really, Pure Creation Design says it all. If you've got a half an idea of what you want, she will make that idea beautiful, absolutely beautiful. She's great. My cover dress was supplied by costumier La Chanel, my friend La Chanel. She has a mask company. She makes masks for all across the world. So I'll also post that website there. And then my daughter, Marina Gagiana, did my makeup. She did it so well that her son Maddox didn't want to sit on his Ola's lap because he didn't know me. And so he is at the back there with my husband, running away from the girls in front. I was assisted by my beautiful family. My whole family was there. Yeah, my yeah, they all helped me. Even my son-in-law had to feed his son. Maddox loves food, so that helped kept him at bay. So when I turn a page, I found a feather, and this feather is to be a bookmark. In each book, you will find a feather that I have collected over the years. I get feathers every day of my life. They remind me of the blessings of life. So that is in there too. And then my gratitudes go to God for guidance, Bethesda, my amazing husband, for your forever support, Morena and Jean for being the most awesome children and my next levels. And I'm leaving a legacy for my amazing grandchildren, Alexia, Maddox, and Diana. And I'm super blessed to be your Ola. They call me Ola, and in brackets, their grandma. And then so much gratitude to my fabulous friends who share life with me and love me on my journey. You all know who you are, and I thank you for you, and be super blessed. And to anyone who will benefit from this book shall honor my journey to self-love, a journey which is a gift that will be reopened because of my sharing. By putting words to paper, it feels like I'm wrapping it up to share anew, and so it shall live on forever, because words have the power to both destroy and heal. When words are both true and kind, they can change our world. And that was a saying by Buddha, or is a saying by Buddha. I don't think it was, it still is. And the introduction, I'll start reading the introduction. How can I be sure that I have to write this book? Could the answer be, and did I mention it took me 7 years to write this book? 7 years, this journey. Yeah. Could the answer be in the fact that I have enough freedom and time to be able to sit and write? Time that before now seemed near impossible to have. I am at a place which is perfectly quiet, save for the white noise coming from the ocean. And the cats. I've got a couple of cats around me. I always have. My stunning view provides a tranquility of the most beautiful variety of green trees. Then there is the perfect table and chair facing this picturesque view. This is how life becomes when we have tuned in and become available to live in the present. This is key to our existence. When we become aware of our circumstances and why we have them, we can do, have, and become everything we want. I have met healthy and wealthy people who were depressed, and then also people with critical illnesses who could honestly attest to joy. This can only mean that we hold the key to everything we want in our lives in our own hands. What I want is not to feel like an oxygen thief. I wish to fulfill a purpose in life. I believe this is what I'm doing by sharing with you and inspiring others to see the super blessedness in their life. It's way too easy to believe that external factors have power over our lives. We believe that money or the lack of it determines our abundance. We believe that the behavior of our loved ones determines our happiness. We believe that success or failure, as the world defines it, determines our self-worth. Yeah, I have come to realize, I'm sharing the platform with the kitty cat. I have come to realize that it is ultimately our own thinking, not our outer circumstances, which shapes whether we live a life in harmony and peace or in pain and despair. In my first book, 10 years ago, Bury the Past, Unlock the Future, as the title suggests, I wrote about my childhood. It was my way of dealing with and letting go of a past that no longer served me. It took me another decade to fully embrace that I not only fit into, but even belong in this universe. With this in mind, I would love to be the catalyst, if needed, for easing this process for you. In this book, I share my realization of what it means to let go of forced upon ideas, and in so doing, to become the architect creating our own world. Shared links to my blog posts provide even more clarity. I have to mention that I really don't think of myself as an author. I simply want to share my lessons learned, and in doing so leave my legacy, especially for my grandchildren. By writing this book, in brackets, even if only my precious grandchildren benefit, I shall be leaving my legacy of words. And then the chapters in this book is a preface, willing to use, and in brackets, self-abuse for something good. Then chapter 1, why are we so FU hashtag KED. Chapter 2 is a story of note. Chapter 3, my life up to this moment. Chapter 4, freedom is a choice. Chapter 5, success because of failing. Chapter 6, fear or curiosity. In Chapter 7, money and your role. Chapter 8, relationships. Chapter 9, health. Chapter 10, gratitude, love is the key. Chapter 11, super blessed to be in the flow. And then the epilogue is the ripple effect that we have on others. And then the preface, willing to use self-abuse for something good. So everything felt just perfect as it can sometimes. We find those absolute perfect moments when everything flows, and this was definitely one of those. Yeah, I started writing in Durban. It was really beautiful, beautiful space that I had, and it felt perfect. It really did. Writing table, computer, a vast expanse of ocean view in front of me, viewable through a beautiful variety of leafy greenery. Feeling eager and full of enthusiasm for writing this book, which this time shall not just be my book, but our book. Wow, our book, how exciting. Living together for a quarter of a century, we had this, we can do this. And that we's supposed to be my husband and myself. Which I can just say, after all these many years, we have the best relationship. We had many challenges, you will find out in the book. Um, but yeah, after sticking it out and working through it, I can only say that we have the best relationship now. We have been collecting recorded files for a long time, and I had more than 70 recordings to put on paper. That was something, was it not? So I sat down, fueled by excitement, and finally started with our book by listening to the recordings. Just a couple of minutes later, it dawned on me that most of these recordings were arguments. Yes, at a point in our marriage, we badly wanted to free ourselves from negativity, and to find out what went wrong, we started to record our fights. It was quite funny while we're busy fighting. Wait, just let's record it because we're going to need it later. And then we start our argument. Quite funny. While trying to listen to our recordings, I could not escape my husband Bethesda's, I'm going to call him B for short, advice he gave me that morning that I rather should not. But I kept on sifting through the wretched recordings of our fights, looking for actual book material and becoming more downhearted with each recording. I was trying to write a positive story that someone would actually want to read, and to my utter dismay, my enthusiasm dwindled, to say the least. So here I was, in the most perfect setting to write our book, and I had no words to put to page. Our book came to a full stop, except for the title, which we absolutely knew was the right one. The title of our book together would have aptly been, Why Are We So FU #KED? Question mark. My son once told us that we have a relationship like the couple in the television series Californication. Wow. While we did not accept it as much of a compliment, I do believe he made a good, strong, and valid point. They had a good old love-hate relationship. They could not live together, but could not be apart either. We could easily see a comparison. So that day, my husband B came home after work, and I told him about, in brackets, my dilemma of not being able to put words to paper. To add more confusion to my total lack of ability to write at that moment in time, he said that he did not want this book to be a factual book, and he added that he wanted the book to be a positive story that someone would want to read. Like the book he was currently busy with, The Saint, the Surfer, and the CEO by Robin Sharma. Well, no pressure. I also loved reading the book, an awesome read with many lessons. But how in the world will I be able to come up with a storyline with a similar style, and this with our life story? Now, that was truly far-fetched, a joke of note. My thought was for our book to be a factual sharing, because as the saying goes, sharing is caring. My belief was that a factual book would be easier to write because of my previous published book. As per usual, we had quite different ideas, and on top of this, we had so much going on. I started to wonder how I could ever write the story about our life together, and so my writer's block continued for yet another 3 days. I felt even more pressured as I knew I had limited time in this perfect setting for writing. We only had the time it took B as a project manager to finish with the construction site he was currently working on. For more than a decade, B and I have been blessed to travel for his work with civil construction. Then there is a link to my blog, which I will also put up in the YouTube video, in the description on the YouTube video. I became extremely impatient as I racked my brain to find a storyline that did not present itself. I complained to B, who said I should be patient, and I complained to my son on the phone halfway across the world about this, and he too urged me to be patient. I complained to my daughter, but she had her own fresh challenges, being a brand new mommy of our brand new and first granddaughter, Alexia. So I tried my best in being patient. I found an interesting yoga book to read, and this helped take my mind away from its negative self-talk and the thought of failure because of my lack of writing. A few days later, when the student is ready, the master appears. I am writing nearly a full 2 pages already. Only when I learned the lesson of patience, my monkey mind became still and the storyline presented itself. Once again, as many times before in my life, the lesson was patience. The birds are singing in beautiful green trees in front of me. Through the variety of green, I see the magnificent view of the ocean, the waves crashing graciously, sending up pure white sea spray. The door is open to let in the fresh north coastal Durban air, providing me with the most awesome oxygen flow to my brain, and I feel like I'm in heaven with every word that is falling onto paper and finding its perfect landing place. And there it is again, one of those absolutely perfect moments. All my senses are sublimely supplied with everything I need. So how did this happen? How did I get my writing mojo back again? Well, over the weekend, we went to a beer festival with some of our awesome friends, Krista and Megan. It is interesting to become aware of how the universe will put the perfect people around you when you need them most. I must admit that I wasn't particularly keen on going at all, as I've been loving my me time so much that I had become a bit of a recluse. I really did not feel like having a lot of people around me at this stage. There's a side note. Have you ever taken some me time? It's a good question. This is such a good question to ask yourself, and if the answer is negative, you really should consider doing it. It is life-changing. I have shared about the fact that our thought patterns work much better if we tame our monkey minds. Me time really connects you with yourself, and although it sounds pretty weird, just try it. Connect your mind with your body. In my experience, the best tool to start with this connection is yoga. Reconnection takes place with body, mind, and soul. Anyway, back to the story. So here we were at the venue where the beer festival was held and meeting new friends of our friends. We met E, beautiful lady, happiness radiating from her very being, a social butterfly, and her husband C, who smiles a lot and gives a soft hug upon meeting. We met their sons. W, the older one, is a biological adult son, where the handsome little man is biologically his. It is an interesting family indeed. She told me their history together, which is also a story of note. And we all have stories. We all have our own stories. We did not find the time to chat a lot, but this day really brought a clarity to me that we are truly blessed to have what we already have. I think the moment when the cog in the wheel of my brain clicked over was when she told me that they knew each other for 20 years already. We're supposed to be together 20 years ago, but are only married for 3 years. My response to her was that we also have known each other for more than 20 years, and we did get married, and it was not as good as it is cut out to be. In brackets, I put, I'm really ashamed to admit that this was my self-talk at that stage. That was more than 7 years ago. What I did not get around to say was that B married a package deal, having an immediate family with me, my daughter and my son, and B was only 22 at the time. Would that by normal standards not be considered as a effed up thing to do for such a young man? We also met another lady at this beer festival. Let's call her F. She was only recently divorced, as I was told. With her was her little boy. The child had telltale scars on him, and I was told that both of them used to be badly beaten by the ex-husband and father. Now that should really be considered a totally effed up thing to do for a husband and a father. Don't you agree? And it was there at the beer festival, in that environment, and at this particular moment in time, that I realized that yes, we are super blessed, and yes, we can and will write this book, the real story about life and marriage and effing up, just because we are so fully qualified. P.S. As I have mentioned, B and myself were supposed to write this book together with its worthy title, Why Are We So Effed? As we have bought into a farm with lots of work to be done, and most of it by B in the meantime, and still travel extensively for his work, which is why I'm in Freiburg at the moment. It is only myself who presently has the gift of time for writing, and therefore I shall try my best to merge our thoughts of two books into this one. And so finally, here we go. And then chapter 1 I will start in the next video. And I thank you for listening, and be super blessed indeed.